Okay, a couple of things with the trill and the grace note. So this is measure 5, 6, 7, measure 7, and we're talking about the third beat. Now whenever you have trills and grace notes, these decorations, the first thing to do if you're having any difficulty is to take out those decorations. Get the basic rhythm right first. So that trill note with the grace note is actually just a quarter note. So going from the beginning, the downbeat of that measure, this is measure 7, I want you to play this. And then we'll play the downbeat of the first repeat. So 3 times like that. 3. 3. Okay, so that's the basic rhythm that you want to hear. Now, I want you to add just the grace notes. So no trill, exact same thing. The grace notes should come late at the very end of that beat, of the third quarter note beat, and they should be quite quick. Yeah. And just to show you, make sure that your bowing is correct. So this is the trill note. So you need to change right after the grace notes. Yeah. So don't do. That's the downbeat of the next measure. That should be a down bow. Yeah. So there's going to have to be some coordination between the fast grace notes and then a bow change at the right time. So let me just demonstrate what I'm looking for. So this is from the beginning of measure 7. 2, 3. Okay, so no trill, just the grace note. So do this a few times with me. Let's do it 3 times. 2, 3. Okay, 2, 3. Okay, one last time. 2, 3. Okay, just for good measure, let's go straight to that third beat and just repeat that quarter note plus the grace note. Again, no trill. Let's do it 3 times. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Okay. Now that you have the quarter note rhythm plus the grace note, let's add the trill. Okay. Now for a trill in this era, era meaning the period of time when this was written, in the Baroque period, the trills always start from the higher note. So the B is the quarter note is a B, and then you have C sharp that you have to play as the trill note. You're going to start the trill on the 3rd finger, not on the 1st finger. So let me show you the difference. A trill that starts on the 3rd finger, you hear the 3rd finger first. A trill that starts from the lower finger, the lower note, sounds like this. From the top note, from the lower note. So in this era, you're always going to start with the higher note, and in this case, that's the C sharp. So let's just do the trill. By the way, doesn't have to be too fast. You don't have to do 50 trills inside. Just a couple of trills, and that's enough. Yeah. So let's go from measure 7 again. I'll count you in. I'm going to demonstrate, and then you come in with me. Okay. 2, 3. Okay. 2, 3. 2, 3. Okay. So if you can't do the trill that fast, do it slower and do less trills. So even if you just did that with 2 trills in the grace note, that's perfectly fine. Yeah. So 2, 3. 2, 3. Okay. All second thing that I want to work on, oh, by the way, that's the exact same thing, exact same way I want you to practice measure 19. So, yeah, so you'll start with just the quarter note, no trill, no grace note. Get that rhythm really solid, then add the grace note, no trill. Remember, grace note, save it to the very end of that quarter note, and then it's going to be a quick bow change, yeah, right after the grace notes, okay? And then the final one, you add the trill and the grace note and play it, put everything together, so. Okay, good. The other thing that we have to work on is measure 29, okay? So that's a little bit hard to play when you don't hear the piano part, because you need accompaniment to really hear the empty beats, empty as in the rest beats. So I want you to practice making sure that you're really counting correctly. Yeah. So I'm going to count that extra quarter note, that quarter note pickup that you see. We're in 3, so I'm going to count 3, 1. 1 is the beginning of the measure that you're playing. Okay, so 3, 1, ba da ba da. Yeah. So I'll just demonstrate for you, and I want you to practice this exactly the way that I'm singing it, and try to put on a metronome. I think that's good, good to have, just so that you know exactly where each of your beats are. Yeah. So 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So you could probably replay that and play with me so that you really hear me counting, and also you can hear exactly when I'm playing the notes in relation to the counts. You could also just practice it with a metronome once you get the hang of it, but that's a really good section to test your rhythm and really making sure it's steady, because when you add the accompaniment, if you're coming in slightly off, not exactly when you should be, like coming on the end of one every measure, if you're not doing that, then it gets a little, everything gets shifted a little bit, and it doesn't really fit perfectly. And then as the audience listens, it starts to sound a little bit shaky, and you don't want to give that impression. You want to give the impression that you're completely in control, that your rhythm is really stable, and your technique also is also stable, and that will give confidence to the audience when they're listening, and they'll be able to enjoy. Okay, so just work on those two things, and things should get better. Okay.